We are in Module 5, the module that I'm calling Slippery Slopes. And what we're going to talk about today specifically is how to take your person who's just kind of entered into your funnel. So how to go from a prospect to a paying client. And we want to do that in the shortest, most effective way as humanly possible. So what we're going to do is just do kind of a check-in review to make sure kind of everyone's on the same page here. We'll look at what we've already covered and how that technically leads to where we are today, and then we'll dive right into the content. So I hope that is good for everybody. So if you remember, Module 1 we called Market Match, and it was all about finding your market, because before anything ever really begins in your business, we need to know who it is that we're serving, and we need to know as much about them as we possibly can. I mean, if you remember, we talked about what is the 4% of the market that we could serve, what are the 4 forces that drive them, the fears, frustrations, wants, and desires, and then based on all that, creating an avatar so that we know who we're talking to and who we're communicating with and who we're trying to reach as we're trying to reach them. Then Module 2 was Master Your Message, and that was all about sharpening your message, because it's your message that in fact allows you to stick out from all the other noise that's going on, and as I say, rage against beige. Now when we're talking about your message, we're talking about how it has 2 elements to it, your why and your what, and we talked about how your why was more important than your what. We also talked about how to turn your ideas into IP and then give it all a handle, or in other words, name it to give it mass appeal. After that, we looked at module number 3, which we called the Magnet Makeover, and that was all about creating and deploying your magnet. Now, your magnet is that thing that we kind of put out there into the marketplace in order to draw your ideal client or customer to you. So we talked about how to structure your magnet using the SAGE model. We talked about the form that it should take. I mean, the various options that there are, but specifically the form that it should take. And I recommended that it was some sort of a downloadable PDF. And then we talked about the framework on how that magnet should take frame in order for us to kind of put it out there in the marketplace. Then last time we were together, we looked at module 4, which was Mechanism Mayhem. And that's talking about executing your mechanism and putting all the pieces of that into place. In other words, it's building a bridge between your magnet and your market. So here we kind of looked at the flow of the typical funnel, which we're going to spend more time with today, and primarily how to set up the ideal ad and the ideal landing page. Now, today, again, we are in module number 5, and I'm calling this Slippery Slopes. And it's all about what to do with a person after they have now become a lead. How do we turn them from a prospect into a client in the shortest, most effective way possible? Now, if you don't get this, there are some dangers or some risks that could be involved. First, you won't be known, right? You're not going to be known in your marketplace. You're not going to be trusted, and you're not going to be liked. And everybody knows that we always continue to buy from people that they know, they like, and that they trust. And without these pieces, you just come across kind of like a salesperson, and nobody ever wants to be considered just a salesperson. Now, if you also don't get this slippery slope concept that we're talking about today, if you're not known and you're not liked and you're not trusted, well, next is you don't really sell anything, right? I mean, the problem is you don't sell anything, and then you're kind of just collecting leads, not realizing that collecting leads is just the beginning of the process. But if you stop there, you're technically falling short of the whole point of why we're doing this in the first place. And technically, I mean, if you're not known, liked, and trusted, and you don't sell anything, well, then it's all just a bunch of wasted effort. Because anyone who is ever spending time or money and not generating income based on that is basically kind of going around in circles and pushing a rock up a hill, or trying to push this mammoth rock over a cliff. It's just going to not do anything. I don't know about you, but I'm sure if I asked this question out there, has anyone ever spent time and money in an attempt to get a sale and not gotten that sale? I mean, you know exactly how it feels. So I mean, I've lost count over the years as an entrepreneur, all the times that I've tried to make money and never ended up working, and in result it ended up costing me tons of money, and more importantly, it cost me a ton of time. So the result of all this, the reality or the fear or the frustration, is that we get no progress in our business. I mean, we like to get progress, and we start doing things in order to make that progress, but we don't actually get any. Now, on the flip side, if you do understand the slippery slope concept, if you do really begin to understand how this all pieces together, well, then the opposite happens. So first and foremost, people know, like, and trust you. And everybody out there, and I'm sure you listening in and watching this presentation today, you know the difference between a sleazy salesman and an authentic salesman. I mean, at least I hope you do. I mean, we've all been in kind of these situations where there was someone to try to sell us something who wasn't kind of like up to par, and then you meet someone who's like truly authentic and truly genuine, and we have that experience with them, and everything is good that way. Now, if people know, like, and trust you, well, then you sell a lot, right? And not in an inauthentic way. You just end up moving more of your product or moving more of your program to people because they know, like, and trust you. And so you're able to sell lots, and you're able to do it with a lot less effort. I mean, you don't have to try so hard. Well, if people know, like, and trust you, and you're able to sell lots, well, then the obvious next thing is that you have a return on investment. And when that happens, everybody is happy, because it means money spent, but it also means even more money gained. And that really is the process of business here. And we get all those three things dialed in. The promise essentially is that you get rapid forward movement. You get to move quickly towards your goals. You get to move quickly towards the scaling of your business. You get to move quickly to that expansion. In fact, I mean, some of my clients, in fact, just recently, a new client of mine, in fact, had literally been trying everything in their business. These two ladies, they've been trying email marketing. They tried all sorts of things. They're buying paid media. They're just joint ventures, and really they were doing all sorts of things, and they weren't really making any ground. And really the pivoting change that happened for them was when they put in a sequence, a specific funnel, one that we're going to talk about today, in fact, the exact process that we're going to talk about today. And literally, within about 90 days' time, they were able to go from kind of like a struggling business that was just barely getting by in the coaching space to a now built a 6-figure-a-month coaching practice, or in other words, $1 million business, simply by following the sequence that we're going to talk about today. So let's just do a quick check-in here. I have a question for everybody on the line. When we're talking about slippery slopes, when we're talking about ultimately the goal of getting someone on an enrollment call or a strategy session with us, what is the most challenging thing that you have found about getting someone to do a strategy session or a enrollment call? So as you're doing your business here, really and truly, what have you found to be the most challenging thing about getting someone on that enrollment call or that strategy session and then closing them into your business? Yeah, so let's kind of review the funnel that we introduced to you last module there. I call it the map. Like, let's look at really this process then that it takes from ad all the way to strategy session and what that actually looks like. So here we go. This is essentially the funnel that we're looking at. We put out an ad, and in this case specifically on Facebook, and that ad will drive a visitor or a click to a landing page. And that landing page is making available the lead magnet, which we talked about, and that's designed to attract the right person and capture a name and an email address in exchange for the magnet. And then as soon as they fill out their name and their email address, then they are taken to the thank you page, which is now what I'm calling an indoctrination piece, which is followed by an offer. And that indoctrination piece followed by the offer is essentially, hey, let's get on a call here, which we call an enrollment call in the business. But it's let's get on a call, a strategy session where I can talk to you about your business, see how I might be able to help, and then offer you a position in my coaching program if we see that we have a good fit, and then we close them. So this is the model here. This is kind of the map or the funnel that we're looking at. We have an ad that takes them to a landing page that offers a magnet in exchange for a name and an email address. As soon as they do that, we offer them an indoctrination piece, which ends with an offer. And the offer is typically, in our scenario, a strategy session or enrollment call. We get on that call, and then if we have a right fit, we close them into our business. And so people will enter our funnel through the magnet. And what we want to talk about today is what happens after that point. Where are they taken to on the thank you page? After they hit yes, enter my name and email, where are they going to be taken to? And that thank you page is what I'm calling the beginning of your indoctrination process. Now, the purpose of indoctrination here is two main points. Number one, I call it indoctrination. It almost has a negative connotation, but that's not the idea. When we say indoctrinate them, we're essentially saying indoctrinate them to you. We're trying to warm them up to you. And we do that by educating them and engaging them and inspiring them. And by educating, inspiring, and engaging them, we build authority, trust, likability, and loyalty, which is all needed before someone is willing to take a transaction or perform a transaction with us. And so that's part of the indoctrination process because, again, we buy from people we know, like, and trust. And so this indoctrination process helps us, trigger some of these buying triggers in our mind. Again, we referred to Robert Cialdini's book called Influence. You can look that up if you want more details about that. So first and foremost, the purpose of this piece is to indoctrinate them to you. And then secondly, it's to make an offer. And hopefully it's an irresistible offer that means essentially we're saying, hey, I'd really like to help you out. I think the best means for me to do that is to hop on a call with you. And then you get them on an enrollment call. You help them with their situation. You analyze if they're a good fit. And if they are, then you offer them a position in your coaching program. So that is the funnel that we're looking at here. And based on this, we really only have two key principles to making your slope slippery, or two key principles to really making this work for you. Two key principles to select the indoctrination piece and to make it all work. So key principle number one is choose your pleasure. Or in other words, select the indoctrination piece that will work best for you. Now, I'm going to propose that there are 5 main indoctrination pieces, and yes, there could be more, and yeah, there could be less, in fact, but I've found in my business and in all the clients that we've helped that there are 5 main indoctrination pieces, and the first step would be to choose the one that you like best. So let me review them a little bit here just to kind of refresh your memory. The first one would be a webinar. Now, a webinar is kind of simple and similar to what we're doing right now, right? And it's delivered in a live format, just like we are doing now, and it's typically using a platform like GoToWebinar, and you can show your screen, you can show your PowerPoint presentation or your keynote presentation, you can go over slides, you can take questions, you can give answers, you can interact, you can show things. That's a great indoctrination piece. So first you have the webinar. Then you have what I would call the case study video. And this is basically a video which is either, typically a screen share, which is like a slide with a voiceover, or it could be you live on camera. And it's typically about 20 to 30 minutes or so. And I call it a case study video because ideally you want to go over a result that you provided for someone who matches the avatar of your ideal customer. So if you're in, let's say, the relationship niche, for example, and you help people kind of understand and get deep in relationships, this video would be a 20 to 30 minute case study of how someone went from a broken relationship to a healthy relationship. Now that could be one element of your case study video, or it could be some very unique kind of strategy that really has you stand out from everyone else. And so you use the case study video to teach this strategy and also obviously to build authority in the space that you're in. So that would be the case study video. Thirdly would be a multi-part video series. And you've probably seen this. It's like video 1, video 2, video 3, video 4, video 1, video 2, video 3. Sometimes people call this, according to Jeff Walker, for example, the sideways sales letter. And these are a multi-part video training series, literally designed for people or designed to walk people through psychological buying triggers with some shorter content pieces. So as opposed to each video being 20 to 30 minutes long, maybe these would be 10 or 20 minutes long, and you'd have multiple ones that could cover multiple areas or multiple subjects. And typically, the content breakdown into multi-part video series would be, the video number one would be like a rich piece of content. something really juicy that sets you apart. And this would be so you could build authority and make you different from everybody else in your marketplace. Video 2 is typically like a case study or a success story of someone that you've worked with. And then video 3 is typically an opportunity to say, hey, this is what I got going on, and I'd love for you to be involved. So that's an example of a multi-part video series, for example. Indoctrination piece number 4 is what we'd call a tripwire sales page. And so this is where you'd make an immediate low-ticket offer. And when I say low-ticket offer, we're saying anything, between $7 and $297, somewhere in that range works. Now, the purpose of the tripwire sales page, or the tripwire sales indoctrination piece, is so that you can liquidate your cost right away from acquiring the lead, because if you're paying for advertising, some people want to liquidate that cost right away. It also creates a buyer's list, because now you have credit card information from people spending a little bit of money with you, and you have their mailing information, which could prove to be valuable to you should you want to use that. And this tripwire could be in the form of selling a report or a video or a mini course or something like that. And then fifthly, the last option would be straight to a strategy session offer or an enrollment call offer. And here's where you would literally invite the new prospect to jump on the phone with you, where you would give them some personal attention based on their situation. Now remember, in our business, in the coaching consulting space, for example, the end point of all of these would be to offer an enrollment call, because that's how we are going to onboard our high-ticket clients into our business. Because remember, the goal, right, at least for high-ticket coaches, is to offer a high-level offer by getting on the phone with them, seeing if they are a right fit, and then inviting them to join your program. Now, here's the reality. Out of the 5, each of them do in fact have their pros and their cons. Right? So each of them have their pros and their cons, and what I want to do is kind of go over those to kind of give people a better idea of which one that they might think is best for them. So first, again, the webinar. And a lot of you have said webinar. In fact, I personally love webinars because besides like live events where you're actually on stage engaging with your audience, I find that live webinars to be the best conversion mechanism out there. It's live, it's interactive, and really to me, it's kind of the next best thing to being on stage in a live event, right? Again, it allows for easy content delivery. It allows you to offer time-sensitive offers. It creates urgency if you're making an offer, or scarcity. And really, you can deploy a lot of the psychological buying triggers by literally holding one of these sessions via webinar. So those are some of the pros on the webinar side. And it looks like a lot of people in this particular group like the webinar. But here's the cons of it. There are some cons, right? Number 1, they're a lot of work. Right? You got to book out first time to prepare them, and then you got to book out time to do the slides and tweak them and make them just right. And then on top of that, you've got to book the time to actually deliver them. And then, of course, you deliver them and you promote them, and X number of people register for it, but not everybody shows up, right? And unless you're kind of like really, really good at delivering content, otherwise what you see happen is a lot of people fall off, and so you'll lose people. So those are some of the cons, right? Now, alternatively, you can implement an automated webinar, for example, using a resource like Stealth Seminar. And what that does is kind of takes your webinar and puts it on autopilot for you. And that could be a great option for people who don't like doing live webinar solutions or being in live webinar situations. In fact, I know one of my close friends and a client of mine. He's doing literally between $200,000 and $300,000 a month using automated webinars to strategy session calls only. So not live, but literally automated, so it can work. So if you choose this option as your indoctrination piece, then your thank you page would be a webinar registration page, similar to the one that you're kind of seeing here, right? You capture the lead. And once you captured the lead, once you did that, a thank you page would be like, hey, well, by the way, we're having this advanced level training coming up later this week. I'd love you to join. If you want to, just click here to register. So if you're choosing this as an indoctrination piece, this would be kind of how you do it. Your thank you page would be the webinar registration page. So webinars obviously are a great indoctrination piece, and I would kind of highly recommend everybody to consider those as an option. But on top of that, we also have case study videos. Right? Now, again, there are some pros and there are some cons to case study videos. Some of the pros, in my opinion, include that, number one, it's kind of like basically automated, right? You just put a video on a web page and you drive people to it and that's it. Secondly, it's video. And in our industry, video works very well for this type of business because you as a coach or a consultant or a speaker, the reality is that people want to kind of hear you and see you and get a real flavor for the type of person you are, and videos are the perfect modality for us to do that. Now, even if you maybe necessarily don't get, talking head video and it's just a voice with some images, that too allows your personality to come out. And that's a great thing in our industry. Now, some of the cons about case study videos is that longer videos, so like let's say 20, 30, 40-minute videos, are kind of hard to keep people's attention. Right? It's very hard to sit through a 40-minute video or a 30-minute video. So unless it's kind of like right on the money and it's like totally perfect and it's amazing, the reality is that most people may not stay until the end where you make the offer. So that's kind of a downfall to case study videos. All right, so that's case study videos, right? Great option for some, maybe not so much for others. There are pros and cons to all of them. What's next? There are multi-part video series. Now, I'm sure you've seen this before. It's like 1, 2, 3, or 4 videos in a multi-part video series. Now, the pros of this is that you can actually strategically take people through a specific psychological process to have them ending up wanting to do business with you, right? That's kind of the reason behind these multi-part video series, is because each of these videos touches upon a different psychological trigger, and the different psychological trigger all adds up to making you want to do business with that person. Now also, because it's a 4-part video series, you're able to cover more material. That doesn't have to be 4-part, maybe it's 2 or 3-part, but either way, you're able to cover more material. So unlike, a one-time case study, here you can do one teaching on webinars and another teaching on this and another teaching on that all kind of link together. So those are some of the pros. Now, the cons, on the other hand, is that most people will watch your first video, but then the more videos you put out, the more people will drop off. So I hope that makes sense. But like majority of the people, let's say 100 people will watch your first video, and of those 100 people, maybe like 50 will watch your second video, and of those 50, maybe 25 will watch your third video. And then when you get down to your last video, typically we see us losing more and more people, or there's more fall off. So that's one of the cons. Another con is it's a longer process, right? So when you're doing a multi-part video series, you're not going to give someone all of the videos in one shot, right? You're going to give someone a video on day 1, and then maybe 2 days later you're going to show a video, and then 2 days after that you're going to show a video. And so it's kind of stretched out for over a week or so maybe. And in my opinion, it's not kind of necessary for strategy session enrollments. So we have the multi-part video series. Fourth, we have the Tripwire sales page. Now, here's some of the pros to offering something for sale right away. Number one, you self-liquidate the lead cost. So if it costs you, let's say, $4 or $5 or $6 to acquire that lead as a name and an email address, if you make a sale, well then not only are you breaking even and getting those leads for free, but essentially you could be in a profit position. So that's an option. Number two, not only are you capturing a leads list now, but you are capturing a buyer's list. People are willing to spend money with you. And a buyer's list is a very, very powerful list. It's far more powerful than just a leads list, for example. And thirdly, you're able to obtain mailing information. And so I know a lot of people, for example, who will do a Tripwire sales page as part of their indoctrination piece, and just before they make an offer for a strategy session or something like that, they will make this low ticket offer. They'll capture the credit card information and the shipping information, and then they'll go out and mail something to them in the mail that offers a strategy session. Right? So that's kind of another angle, because when everyone's on the online world and looking at emails and all this other stuff, if you can send something in the mail and get it open, that's a pretty powerful thing. So those are some of the pros. Now on the con side of it, you could potentially come across as being salesy. So if you don't do this really elegantly and you're trying to sell something right away and you kind of do it in a non-elegant way, essentially that could hurt your reputation. And if it hurts your reputation, then it's not good in the long run from people who want to work with you. So you can think about that. And also, number two, this will close people off to you immediately. So let's say people get offended by being sold to right away before building a relationship with them. I mean, that will turn people off to you. And we kind of don't want that. So there are some pros and cons. And I definitely suggest that if you were to do this, that you would do it in an elegant way. So moving on to the last option here, and that would be number 5. And this is offering someone straight to a strategy session. So this is kind of like nothing in between, going straight for it and getting on the phone with someone into a strategy session or an enrollment call, as some would call it. Right? Now the pros of this is that you'll get people on the phone with you almost immediately. So as soon as you kind of deploy this and people start seeing this, literally within a matter of minutes of people going through your sequence here, they will immediately start filling out your form and requesting a call with you. And literally, if you've been waiting for phone calls to add people and enroll people into your coaching program, you are literally a few pages away from that happening. Secondly, another benefit to this is that you can enroll people faster into your program if you're good at enrollment calls. So rather than having to wait for people to go through an indoctrination piece and seeing them if they fall off and should I see this or should I do that and et cetera, I mean, if you're good at enrollment calls and you get people on an enrollment call right away, you're literally closing people into your program immediately, which is, great traction and great momentum. Now, on the other hand, some of the cons of this is that the quality of these leads are not typically as good as if they had been indoctrinated at some point, right? So the sale will be a little bit harder and you'll need to talk to more people to get a yes. Because if they haven't yet gone through any of your indoctrination pieces, they're not yet kind of fully sold to you. And if they're not yet fully sold to you, then getting on the phone with them might be a little bit harder to close them in your program. Now, if you're good at enrollment calls, then this wouldn't be a problem at all, and you'll be able to close somebody no problem. But if you're not so good at enrollment calls, then this might be a little bit harder because the people are less qualified. Does that make sense? So I get asked a lot. So Nick, what do you think is the best one out of all of these? Right? I mean, which out of all 5, which do you suggest to be the best for you? And here's the reality. It depends on who you are, right? Some people are great at webinars and they love webinars. Well, then they should be doing webinars. Other people are great at strategy sessions and they want to make that the first thing they do. And if that's the case, then, I'd say just go straight to strategy session. Some people are good on video, want to do a case study video and all that. So let me just throw it out there by saying this. There is no one best because it all depends on how you deliver content, your personality, which kind of indoctrination piece you like better than the other. So these are all things that you want to keep in mind. In fact, let me turn around and ask it another way. The question really should be, well, which one is best for you? Right? Which is the best one for you? Because every person on this training right now could say something different. And so it's not like an overall blanketing statement to say that there's only one way to do this. There are multiple ways to do this, and you want to pick the one that's best for you. So Linda says, if they request the strategy session, within how many days do we respond? Is it too long to make them wait? I would say, Linda, and that's a great question, that you would want to give them, as soon as they request a strategy session, I would say that you want to take them to the next page, and I'll show you this in just a second, but the next page you want to take them to is to a booking page where they can literally get access to your calendar and book a time that's appropriate for you. Because one of two things can happen if you wait too long. One, they can completely fall off and not be interested anymore. So you do want to strike while the iron's hot. And if you do wait too long, again, it becomes a less of a priority. People justify, their emotion with logic, and they say, "Oh, I don't really need this." And what we found in general is that the longer you wait from strategy session request to actually having it, then what tends to happen is you get a lot of less show up rate. Linda asks, is there too soon to respond? Again, you're not responding here. What I would suggest is as soon as someone requests a strategy session and fills out your application, the next page they go to is a booking request page, and I'll show you what that looks like in just a minute, and then they book at a time that works best for them. So this way you don't have to worry too much about sending emails back and forth and saying, hey, is now a good time, or is now a good time, or is it too short or too long? You let the system do that for you, and that way you don't have to think about it or worry about it. You can just kind of go with it. I hope that makes sense, right? So if key point number 1 was choose your map or select your pleasure, then key point number 2 for this whole thing is, well, let's deploy it, right? Let's get it out there and just launch the darn thing so that we can start to get these enrollment call conversations going, because the reality is the more of these you have, the more likely you are to grow your business. So remember, each one of these that we discussed are technically kind of a module in and of itself. And so we don't really want to spend too much time digging into each one of these. So what I want to do today is essentially focus on the strategy session, right? I want to focus on this because number 1, it's your quickest path to getting on the phone, and the sooner you can get on the phone with somebody, the more you can practice your skills at enrollment calls. And then on top of that, you also have the ability to close more people into your business with the least moving parts as possible. Because I realize that there's some people on the training who have communicated to me that, oh man, I'm not too tech savvy, and I don't want to be too burdened down with all these different elements in the funnel or anything like that. I just want to be careful of that. So in order to kind of eliminate all those things, what I want to do is spend time focusing on the strategy session today, because I found this to be the easiest way to get going and with the least amount of moving parts. So I hope that's cool. Now, to make this even easier, what I've done for you essentially is created a template script that you will literally be able to follow right away to get this going and to get this all done for you. Now, this enrollment call offer script is literally what you can put, if you're going to use strategy session as your means of indoctrination, this is the video or the audio, but typically a video. This would be the video that you are going to be using as soon as someone fills out their name and their email address in order to get the magnet from you. This is the following thank you page. There's going to be a video with you on it. Below it is going to be an application form, and this is essentially what you want to say on the video. So I've kind of really broken it down for you to make it super easy. So let's kind of go through this together, and then I'll show you an example of someone who's kind of gone through this process and what that looks like. And then we'll take some questions with regards to that. So first is the enrollment call offer script. We break it down in a couple sections. First is the intro, and essentially this is, hey, thank you so much for requesting your, and you're going to name your cheat sheet there, or name your magnet. So let's say your magnet is the trouble retention system, right, for the sake of the example that we've been using in the past. You'd say, hello, thank you so much for requesting the trouble retention system cheat sheet. It should be arriving in your email box within about blank number of minutes. And typically you want to say a time that is 5 minutes longer than this video that you've created. And the reason for that is because if you do any shorter than that, people will have the tendency to want to abandon the video and go check out what's in their inbox. So you don't want to do that. So if this video was, let's say, 6 minutes long, you'd say that should be arriving in your inbox in about 11 minutes. Okay, so that makes sense. That's the intro right here. Now below that is what I call the setup. And so here's where you're really going to set them up for what's next. And so, hi, my name is blank, and I'm the founder of, and you'd name your company here. So, hey, my name is Nick, I'm the founder of NicholasKuzmich.com, and I'm the creator of the Facebook Floodgate program. So in this case, you want to name your coaching program. And the reason you're doing this is to really paint pictures and put context to what they're going to expect. Now, following that, you want a credential statement. So in this case, in the last blank number of years, I've helped over however many people you've helped who have been with their main struggle to get the result that so that they could benefit. So I know that was a little complicated. Let me give you an example of this. So I can say, like, in the last 7 years, I've helped over 3,000 home entrepreneurs, coaches, and experts who have been struggling to use Facebook marketing and advertising to fill strategy sessions so that they can enroll more clients quicker and easily into their practice. So I hope you saw how I just kind of, that was off the cuff obviously, but that's how we filled in those blanks there. So in the last blank number of years, I've helped over the blank number of people who are my ideal client who have been struggling with X so that they could get Y so that they would benefit with Z. Then you want to flip into asking a question. So I say, I have a question for you. Are you frustrated because, and here's where you want to say what the main frustration is. Are you frustrated because you're spinning around in circles and not able to get more clients into your coaching business? Or are you a successful speaker, author, and expert, but are just having trouble bringing more people into your coaching practice? Well, if so, I can help. Okay, so this is kind of the setup, right? You've introduced who you are. You're kind of introducing the video. Then you're setting up who you are to build kind of brief, quick authority. Now, third part is what I call optional here. And this is to reiterate some of your content. So you could say, well, in the cheat sheet that I've just sent to you, I will reveal, and you go over the points. I will reveal how to use Facebook ads to get more clients. Or I will reveal to you the 4 steps to a perfect Facebook ad. They are A, start with a question, B, use a high contrast image, C, have a strong call to action, something like that. You just want to reiterate some content. Now this is optional, and the reason why I say it's optional is because it extends the length of your video, but I personally like to do this because again, it proves that you're authority and you know what you're talking about. So again, we'll start with the intro, we then set them up with some credential statements, we optionally talk about what is in the cheat sheet, or the magnet that you've just delivered to them, and then I have here 2 offer options. So I'll walk you through both of them, option number 1 and option number 2. So offer option number 1 is this. If you are target market, so in this case, if you are a coach, a consultant, or an expert who is looking for desired result, more clients into your practice, I want to offer you this limited exclusive opportunity to you. I want to give you a complimentary, no obligation, 17-minute or 30-minute or 45-minute or 60-minute, whatever it is, whatever your enrollment call length is, strategy session call or strategy call. Here's where we will hop on the phone and I will go over with you exactly what you need to know in order to use Facebook advertising and preeminent positioning in order to enroll more clients into your business, right? So here's again the greatest benefits from what they will get from the call and what they can expect to walk away from the call. So again, you want to emphasize here what are the benefits and what are the takeaways. Then you want to reiterate, and what I like to say is this: there's no cost, there's no obligation, and this is not a sales call of any kind. So then I just kind of go into a little more specifics. If you'd like to learn more about my program, so if you'd like to learn more about the Facebook Floodgate program after our call, and we feel like we have a fit, then we can potentially discuss that. But here's my promise to you. If you don't ask, I won't tell. Sound fair? Now the reason that we're putting this statement in here is because we want to lower their guard. A lot of people realize that if they're going to come on a strategy session call with us, then they're most likely going to be sold to, right? And as a result, most people are going to be like, well, this is kind of really just a sales pitch that is hidden. So we put this statement in there to kind of lower their defenses and say, you know what, I'm not going to sell you anything. I'm going to give you these benefits instead. And in fact, I'm not even going to bring up what I can potentially offer you unless you ask me first. And the reality is if you do a really good job at this call, then they'll probably bring it up anyways, right? So in continuation with the script, this call is all about you and your business or your life or your experience. You'll come away with this call with an extremely valuable plan of action where you will have the exact next steps needed to enroll more clients into your business so that you can finally have the freedom and the desire and the time that you want. All right, so that's just, again, me filling in the blanks here of desired result and desired benefit. All right? In other words, this could be, or this is going to be, one of the most profitable things that you do this year, or one of the most beneficial things you do this year. Again, there's absolutely no charge for this call together, and I'm waiving my usual $997 fee, so it costs you nothing. Now, obviously, there is no obligation, and you will leave the call with a highly actionable plan of action to get more clients into your business, or again, whatever the desired result is. Now, here's where you want to build a little scarcity into it, and we say something like, well, most weeks I can only accommodate between 2 or 3 of these sessions, and they do book up fast. So if you'd like to take advantage of this highly profitable opportunity, I'd love to make it work for you. Just go ahead and complete the short form below while spaces remain open, and I will be in touch with you within 24 hours to schedule your session. Thanks, and I look forward to speaking with you soon. So as you can see, that's a pretty straightforward video, but every element of it has a key point in order to kind of set up that call and get people interested in it. Now, let me walk you through script number 2 here as another option, and you'll see why it's different. And you can basically choose the one that will work best for you. So offer option number 2 may sound something like this. Hey, again, you're starting with the same intro, the same setup, the optional introductions or the optional points that you're going over in your lead magnet. But this case, you're going to kind of take a little bit of a different approach. And I saw this work great in with certain clients as well. This one says, hey, may I be honest with you? Statistically, your chance of actually reading the cheat sheet that I just sent you is about 30%. And let's be honest, your chance of implementing it is actually tiny, especially if you're time challenged. So here's the deal. If you'd like me to personally show you how you could, again, desired benefit, use Facebook advertising and preeminent positioning so that you can get more clients into your business, then I'd love to take the time to do that with you. And here, it's on me. Because here's the truth. The cheat sheet is truly amazing. In fact, it's the exact formula that I've used to enroll a ton of clients into my business. However, what is needed to really change your business or your life is a personal plan, because your life or business is unique. In the 15 years that I've been doing this and getting these kind of results, I've come to realize that no general plan has ever worked for my clients. And the reality is that the probability of you having results like this is dependent on you taking decisive action and recognizing opportunities when they come your way. And this is one of them. Now, first, let me be clear. This isn't for everybody. Here's the fine print, right? These strategies work for coaches, consultants, experts, anyone in the information industry. However, they won't work, and here's where you put in people you're trying to avoid. These won't work for multi-level marketers, home business opportunity seekers, or whatever the piece of people you're trying to qualify and avoid. This is what you're trying to put in here. Now, this won't work for you if you're in so much fear that you can't take risks, and it won't work for you if you have a million questions with no ability to take any actions. You have to be ready and serious to get more clients right away. Now, I know that sounds funny, but you'd be amazed at how many people are not ready to really get what they want. Now, here's kind of the closing, right? If you're truly wanting to move to the next level, then it would be my pleasure to create with you a step-by-step plan that will get you to where you're destined to go. People come to me for a breakthrough, and my clients will tell you that I definitely deliver. So what happens next? Well, if you're a coach or a consultant or an expert or someone operating in the information marketing space, again, that's just me putting in some information there, who is looking to get more clients into their business, then I want to offer this limited exclusive opportunity to you. I want to give you a complimentary, no obligation, 15-minute, 20-minute, 30-minute, 45-minute, 60-minute strategy call. Here's where we'll hop on the phone, and again, the same kind of closing. We'll go over all the benefits and what you will get from the call. The only thing is there's a limited number of spaces available. The last time I offered this, we got X number of applications. So this time we're filling them by application base only for people that we feel that we can help the most. If this resonates with you and you'd like our help, then click below to apply for your session. If you are a match, myself or one of my coaches will be in touch. This could be what you have been waiting for. So you see you have two options there with the actual script, and they're just really fill in the blank templates that you could fill in for you. And I just want to give you kind of an example of someone who has done just that following this exact script. So here's a script. Let me just kind of blow this up a little bigger so you could see it. Of someone who's essentially just filled in the blanks and made it work for them. I'll just read through this kind of briefly. I won't read the whole thing, but I just want to get you an idea of this. It says, hello. Thank you so much for requesting your 3 mistakes tech CEOs make getting venture capital funding cheat sheet. It should be arriving in your email within about 10 minutes. Now, my name is John Livesay, and I'm the founder of Livesay Consulting and the creator of the 3 C's of getting funded. In the last 5 years, I've helped over 50 tech CEOs who have been struggling to get their product easily understood and struggling on how to sell them to get VC funding. They all want to get their business to grow fast, and if this sounds like you, well, then I can help. Now I have a question for you. Are you frustrated because you don't know how to best sell yourself, since this is what you have to do to get investors? Or are you frustrated because you can't get people to say yes faster to understanding what makes your company unique and valuable? Now again, I'm not going to read the whole thing, but you can see exactly how he's followed the very precise formula I've given them, right? The cheat sheet covers these three things. If you're a tech CEO, again, if you are target market, looking for a benefit, looking for a proven method to sell yourself and your company, here's what we can do. I want to give you a complimentary, no obligation, 15-minute situational snapshot analysis call. Here's where we're going to hop on the call, and we're going to see where you are, where you want to go, and I'll give you some immediate tips to help get you started. It goes on. If you want to learn more about my services after the call and we feel like we have a fit, then we can talk about moving forward with those. This call is all about you and your business. If you're serious about getting funded fast to make your business grow, then simply email me at this email.com or click a button for a 15-minute call. I look forward to seeing you soon. All right. So hopefully you can see how someone just simply took the template and filled in the blanks. And here is what it actually looks like. Right now, I'm not sure if you're going to be able to hear the audio, but it's a simple page that looks like this. When you land on it, oh, I guess you can't hear it probably there, but it's going to go through, and he's actually literally just reading the script that I had just read to you there. There's a button on the bottom that if you click in, you can fill out the information, tell me about your business, schedule me a call. Simple as that. Now, here's another client of mine who's done the same sort of thing, right? This is their video that essentially follows the same script. Your cheat sheet will arrive in 15 minutes. Watch this video below. And then right below that, you'll see some, on the right-hand side, you'll see a couple of testimonial videos, which is, I think, a nice touch. You don't have to do that, obviously. And then you have the application in the middle. So someone had asked, what are some of the questions that are important for this? I would say whatever questions are very important to you understanding their business, to see if they're qualified to work with you. So a question like, what are their goals and what are their current monthly revenue? Like that will help you determine whether or not there's someone that you want to hop on the call with. When you ask what are their goals or what are they looking to accomplish, these are going to be some great resources for you that are going to tell you what they need. So in this case, it's obviously first name, last name, right? What's your phone number, your email, your Skype? In this case, he's helping gym owners. So he says, are you in fact a gym owner? What was your revenue in the last 30 days? And what's your monthly goal revenue? Right? Which of these areas are you struggling with the most? And you can fill that out. And I love this question. A lot of coaches ask this type of question. Why do you feel you haven't reached these goals? These set you up perfectly. So when you're on the call with somebody and you say, well, you said you haven't reached these goals because of X, Y, Z. Well, let me tell you that I can help you with X, Y, Z. Right? Tell me more about your business so you get a real feel for the type of person they're like. Right? And then again, how would you describe yourself? And here's a great qualifying question. I'm the type of person who constantly buys books, courses, but never does anything with them. I'm the type of person who needs 1 to 2 things to take action and I get results and I'm hungry for success. I'm the type of person who listens, nods along, but does nothing. Right? And this is kind of this, A, validating them, so them selling themselves to you, and then B, giving you a quick idea of how they qualify. Right? Now, once you've done that, and you've kind of answered, this is the next page. So once they fill out all this information, they hit submit. In this particular case, they're taken to a book your call page. Like I was saying, in this case, it's just go ahead. You qualify, let's book a call. In this case, it takes them to a time calendar. They can say book 8 o'clock, fill out the rest of the details. And now they are booked with a call with you. And if for some reason, after you view the details of their application, you can choose whether or not you want to follow up with that call or cancel it. Okay? So before we go any further here, I do want to quickly open up and check in with everybody here and see, A, what was your greatest takeaway from any of that? So what was your greatest takeaway from what I just shared with you there for you to see? Someone else says, what is the booking calendar called and how do we get that? Great question. There are a couple of options that people tend to use for calendar stuff. Let me show you a couple that I like. So one of my favorites that I live by, that I really like, is a company called vCita, vCita.com. Schedule Once is another calendar option there that people really like and they can use. Again, it gives you a video, goes how you can use that. Oh, You Can Book Me, there you go. Here's another one. So customers booking straight into your calendar. So here's another option. So there are tons out there, and different pricing and different options and stuff like that. The beautiful thing of it is that it integrates directly into your Google Calendar. So if you're kind of already booked as being busy, it won't book during those times. So as you can see here, like in this particular calendar, there are days that are just kind of blocked off saying not possible, right? And so that kind of helps, obviously. So you can use any one of those options. Hopefully that helps. All right, so here are your 3 options when it comes to this script, right? Because not everybody likes to necessarily get in front of a video camera. I'm going to suggest to you that that's probably preferred just because as a coach or a consultant, people want to get to see your face and get to know your personality a little bit better. So when you do a video, that obviously helps. But there's 3 main options. So first, as you can see by the screen, first is audio. Right? So in order to make this audio work, it's kind of easy. You just get some sort of audio recorder. Some people can even like use your cell phone for that matter. I would just recommend if you're going to use your cell phone, you want to use like a little microphone. I'll put that in the resource section too. I mean, literally you can just plug in the microphone into your iPhone and record right away, and that'll give you some clear sound quality. But really all you need to is to capture the audio. You're literally going to read the script in a very conversational way. You're going to capture that on your phone using a mic or an audio recorder, an MP3 recorder, or something that you have that can capture sound. And then what I would do is not just leave it up as an audio, but I'd probably put an audio with your image on it. So let's pretend, for example, that this was an audio and not a video. Okay, what I would do is I'd still make it a video, but I'd record the audio and then I'd just put it over top as an image there, and an image of you. Because at least that way, if people see an image of you, they can associate the voice with the face and they kind of warm up to you anyways, and it's almost like a real video. So I hope that makes sense, right? If you're going to record an audio, then let's just turn it into a video, but the video is not going to be like full motion. It's just going to be a picture of you there with the audio playing. So that's one option is audio. Secondly is a talking head video. So that's literally you putting a handy cam in front of you and you're speaking right to the video recorder. Now the only things I would say about this, if you're going to do it this way, is number one, make sure you're well lit. I think one of the biggest problems we see in a lot of videos is that like there's not enough light on the person and it becomes like a really dark video and you can't really see the person. So obviously that's not cool. We don't want to do that. We want to make sure that you're well lit. Number two, make sure there's a little bit of space in the background because this creates depth. So if you can see on this video, for example, John is right up against the wall, and so it doesn't create depth and it gives you this kind of clustered feeling. You just want to make sure that there's like few feet, at least 3, 4, 5, 6 feet behind you and whatever's behind that. Whether that's a wall or a couch or whatever, you just want to create some depth that way. So make sure you do that. 3, make sure you capture the audio clearly, because if you're standing like a far way away from your video camera, it really sounds like a terrible, you can tell you're in a big room and it's capturing really far away. So use some sort of an audio recorder or something, or a mic or something that can just capture the audio clearly. And then 4th, what I do, and I always do this to cheat, and John has done this the same, it's hard to tell, but now that I mention it, you probably notice, he's actually reading off a laptop like a teleprompter. So I would actually like place the laptop behind the video screen and read it. I've had clients ask me, oh my God, do I have to like memorize that video script? And the answer is no. I couldn't do it. I certainly know I can't do it. Every video I ever record where it's me talking face, I have the laptop right behind there, and I have it kind of set up like PowerPoint so I can scroll through the slides that work kind of like a teleprompter. So there's some like little ninja hacks that you can implement there, and hopefully that helps. Or lastly, let's say you don't want to do the audio with your face there, or you don't want to do a talking head video. Well, then you can do like a slide and a voice video. So kind of similar to what I'm doing now, for example, you can put together a PowerPoint or a keynote, and you can just kind of flip through slides that have your words on them, and you can just read them as you go. So this way, at least it's a video, at least there's kind of motion on the video, and at least this way they can hear your voice. So it's kind of like the third best thing. So again, you just kind of script it out, you use PowerPoint or Keynote, you talk through the script, and then you flip through the sides as you go along with that. What was your greatest takeaway from today's training? Like, what is the one main thing that you're able to walk away from and implement immediately so that you can start to see results from it? Question says, where can we put our videos? Can we include it in our emails? Yeah, so the easiest way to put the video, and just like I'm showing you here, is using lead pages, right? So lead pages is a great source that you can use because, again, it's kind of template. So you're using it probably for your lead capture page anyways. You can also use it for this. This is a lead page template, and you can pick one. You can just get someone to build a simple page for you. So for example, this one here is through a service called ClickFunnels, right? So it's literally template based, drag and drop. So you can put that up there. You can drop your video in there, and then implement this is Wufoo Forms, okay? Let me actually just kind of type that out there, Wufoo. So this is Wufoo Forms, wufoo.com. You can create forms and put them there. So that's what I typically use. And the beauty of this is, as soon as somebody fills this out and hits submit in the bottom, what happens is you get emailed with all of that information. So you don't even have to think about it or worry about it. Literally just kind of comes to your inbox and you know that someone has filled out that information. So this is a thing called ClickFunnels that you can use. You can use lead pages like I mentioned before. You know, whatever's kind of easier for you, or you can just get like a developer, a coder on Fiverr for $5 or on Odesk for like $20 and just tell him what you want. He can piece the whole thing together for you. So I hope that helps. Karen says, lots of great info in the strategy sessions. Thanks. The format for the questionnaire is exactly what I needed. Awesome, Karen. Please swipe it and use it to your heart's content and modify it obviously to work for your business, but I'm glad that that helped. Any other takeaways? I'd love to hear from anybody who felt like they had some value from this and what that piece of value was. Go ahead and let me know. And as you do that, let me just kind of end with a little bit of homework. I know everyone hates homework, but here's your to-do list. All right. So to-do list number one is really simple. Number one, fill out your strategy session script and modify it accordingly. So take the script that you have or you will have, literally print it out and get a pen and a paper to it and just mash it up. Start filling out the various elements to it and get a script that you're happy with and that's working. Okay, so make sure you kind of go ahead and do that. That will definitely help. And that's homework piece number one. And then number two, record it. Right? So if you're doing a video, record the video. If you're going to do an audio, record the audio and get a picture of yourself and just kind of put the whole thing together. I mean, you may not use it immediately right away because you're still kind of catching up from past modules and there's certain things you want to have in place before that. But yeah, you just use it, right? Put it in there, record it right away so you have it handy and we can use it for when you're ready to do some stuff with that.